Let's see how this is reflected in the TEKS. Strand 1, Developing and Sustaining Foundational Language Skills, requires explicit instruction in our first sphere. Strand 2, Comprehension Skills, requires explicit instruction during reading or reading workshop in order to have depth, modeling, and explicit instruction of how readers think while they're reading. This requires its own instructional time. Strand 3, Response Skills, teaches students how to think like readers, having their own original ideas, reactions, and opinions to text, and how to record and share those thoughts. This requires explicit instruction, sometimes during reading instruction and sometimes during writing instruction. Strand 4, Multiple Genres, teaches about the literary elements and characteristics of different genres, so requires time to read, share, discuss, model, identify, describe, and explain those elements and characteristics and how they all interact with each other. This means explicit instruction in reading. Strand 5, Author's Purpose and Craft, is primarily a reading strand. However, this knowledge is intended to directly feed students' learning in writing. They will take what they've learned studying authors' work and then learn to make those same decisions when they write. So this instruction will need to take place explicitly in reading and in writing. Strand 6, Composition. This content requires explicit instruction in writing, meaning outside of what they learn as writers in foundational literacy, outside of what they learn about writing during reading, we must provide explicit instruction in writing. This is the opportunity to teach our students as writers, to learn craft as a writer, to learn the essential cognitive skill of taking our own original ideas, hidden invisibly in our mind, and putting them down in writing for others to read. This requires time given for explicit instruction. Strand 7, the ELA Inquiry and Research TEKS, require explicit time in both reading and writing instruction as students develop inquiry skills and research to deliver a presentation. So, our English language arts content standards require that we have time to explicitly teach foundational literacy skills, phonological awareness, phonemic awareness, and phonics, and explicit, direct, modeled, and shared instruction in reading, thinking like a reader, analyzing what authors are telling us, and responding and reacting like readers, and explicit, direct, modeled, and shared instruction in the craft of writing for all different reasons and purposes, in all different genres and contexts, and for different audiences. The thing to remember is that all of these work together and overlap during shared reading and writing, during small group instruction, and during independent practice and application, but each also requires their own time for focus during instruction. This is what makes teaching language arts complex, intertwined, and ever building, and why it requires careful planning and use of time. What makes it critical that we understand how all of these work together and what we must provide for all of our students.